Once again, aboard the Goodyear blimp, high above Daytona International Speedway, where a crowd in excess of 150,000 diehard stock car fans really saw a beauty. Dale Earnhardt fell behind by a lap at one point when his race car gave out under him, but they kept working on it, and he just kept driving the wheels off that car, got himself back on the lead lap, worked his way to the point with 10 laps remaining, and held it all the way to the finish against a tremendous effort by Harry Gant and Greg Sacks. There you see Dale Earnhardt now down in victory lane. We'll be going to him in just a moment with Neil Bonnet. Johnny Hayes, a spectacular victory. I really thought Harry Gant was going to come back.
Well, I couldn't tell. Dale did a great job there at the end. He's just a magnificent race car driver, and he used up the racetrack. He made the moves. He used traffic. I mean, he's just the man. He's tough to beat in a situation like that. Harry did a great job, and also I think Greg Sacks did an excellent job all day. You know, we look, and Bobby Labonte finished 6th, ran his heart out. Jimmy Hensley finished 4th, ran his heart out. Elton Sawyer had a great day, finished 5th. Dale Jarrett, man, it looked like he had the real shot to win this thing. Was up front all day, had some kind of problem right at the end. So it was a good race. We had a lot of accidents, a lot of trouble there, but we still had a real good event and a good shootout at the end.
Let me tip my hat also to Dale Jarrett, who was in it right to the finish, had the car break with about 4 laps to go, leaving it to the 3 who finished: Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, Greg Sacks. Jimmy Hensley 4th unofficially, Elton Sawyer 5th. Bobby Labonte, who led so much, faded badly in the last 10 laps or so. He'll finish 6th. 1 lap down, Ernie Irvin in 7th. Dale Jarrett 8th. Joe Nemechek 9th. Great run for him in his first Super Speedway performance. Patton from Enfield, New Hampshire, fills out the top 10. It's just the beginning of the climactic part of Speed Weeks. The Daytona 500, of course, coming up tomorrow. Now let's get down to victory lane with Neil Bonnet.
Dale, just a typical old day at the racetrack. Get a lap or 2 behind and make them back up. I tell you, you guys did a good job.
It looks easy on the racetrack, don't it, Neil? That's hard work, though. But, you know, the guys did. We had a rear end line leaking, and we got that fixed and got a lap back, and, you know, was lucky to get it back. I passed Dale Jarrett just as the caution came out. We got a lap back. The guys did a good job. Spinnicklin and all the boys back at the shop built the engine at Richard's shop, and Tony and Hutch and all the boys that built the car, and, you know, everybody did a great job. You know, everybody worked hard. It seemed like it was a long winter getting this car to here, and then it was a long day getting into victory lane.
Well, a little hard work's never hurt you. Biggest thing I want to know is next hunting and fishing trip. You paying for it after this?
Yeah, I'll pay for the next one.
We're going to take it pretty soon. Good job, Dale. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
What about tomorrow?
Well, I'm going to tighten my car up a little more, and I think you better, too. That racetrack's greasy as heck.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to see if I can hang on that little black Chevrolet a little bit tomorrow, see if we can have some fun.
Me and you need to. We ain't had no fun in a long time.
Thank you, Dale.
Earlier this week, Dale Earnhardt said, a lot of guys have been taking this cat for granted in the last few races of the 1989 season. I am back, and I'm going after it more aggressive than ever. And he certainly did today, coming from a lap down, taking the lead, and with it a victory to be worth in excess of $34,000 from a record purse of $426,000. The richest race in the Busch Grand National Series for 1990 belongs to Dale Earnhardt. We're going to take a quick time out and return for a further look at post-race activities here at the Goody's 300 from Daytona. Stay with us. Daytona, where Dale Earnhardt is the winner of the 32nd running of the Goody's 300. 43 starters, 24 cars still running at the finish. Steve Burns is standing by now with the runner-up.
Second place man, Harry Gant, was right on Dale Earnhardt's bumper. Harry, describe the last lap for us. Did you have enough to catch him?
Yeah, the last 3 laps is probably the only ones I ran full wide open. You know, the car was pretty loose, and we knew we had to save our fuel. Earnhardt had come in, you know, earlier with the black flag stop, and he had about 10 more laps than the rest of us did on fuel. So I was the only car that had a chance of beating him, because if I didn't run out of fuel. But I knew he was not going to run out, so we had to beat him on the track, and the only way I could do it was just sit behind, save all the fuel, and wait till, you know, 2 laps to go and give it a run. And that's what we done, and, you know, I wasn't able to get around on the backstretch. There's a lot of cars in the way, and coming off of 4, there's a couple lap cars out front that sort of helped him get a pull, so we were pretty equal down through here. I really should have started a little earlier, but then again, maybe I ran out of gas.
Harry, was it a matter of running out of gas or running out of laps? Could you have caught him in another lap or so once you formulated your strategy?
Oh, yeah. I could have took the lead really at any time, 10, 20 laps to go, but I would have run out of gas. I mean, I couldn't be in the middle, and I was glad to be in front because in the middle, my car was real loose. But out front, I'd been okay probably, but if I'd out front, I was going to run out like I had to gain 2 laps. It calculated was going to run 2 laps short, and we had 60 laps, 58 laps to run, and I had to hold back and try to accumulate 2 laps by not running the car wide open.
Harry, everybody seems to say that the track is very slippery. Will this hold true tomorrow?
If it's like it was today, I think every car out there was awfully loose there today, this evening late. If it turned around and had a caution and we'd have come in, then we would have run hard the rest of the race and put tires on and got gas. Then we could have, maybe got back in front. Might have helped us better if we would have had a caution and got a new start. But the only way I was going to win was to beat Earnhardt because he was not going to run out of gas. The only way I was going to run second was for me not to run out of gas. So I just had to take it easy until the fuel pressure didn't fluctuate and we had 2 laps to go, and then that's when I ran it.
Harry, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
And a couple of more statistics following the race, running at 2 hours and 31 seconds. The average speed, 149.357 miles an hour for Dale Earnhardt, well under the record of 162 miles an hour set by Darrell Waltrip back in 1978. 4 caution flags. Of course, the one that everyone will remember happened on lap 14. We'll take another look at it. A wreck that took out most of the leading cars in this race, including both of the Waltrip brothers and the 5-time champ Jack Ingram. It took out Kyle Petty and so many others, more than a dozen cars involved. Early on, while the cars were still running too wide through turns 3 and 4, to the left of your screen, Brad Teague gets out of shape while running next to Dale Jarrett. And folks are going to talk for quite a while about what happened afterwards.
You watch how close Darrell Waltrip comes to missing him. Darrell pulls up. When Darrell hits him, it clicks him in the back and shoots him back up the racetrack in front of all the traffic. Otherwise, if it would have cleared to the bottom in the grass, we would have had an accident, but we wouldn't have taken out 13 cars. The racetrack is totally blocked. You can see Michael Waltrip in the number 30 car went airborne to hit again, so you can see they're just crunching each other hard, trying to get out of the way. They're on the brakes. There's just nowhere to go.
You see the 22 car getting front and rear-ended. That's Rick Mast. He and Kenny Wallace, last year's Rookie of the Year, got their cars repaired, if that's the right word for it, got all the broken parts torn off, fixed the ones that they needed to run, did go out and run, and finally finished the race. 13 cars out in this wreck. 3 more followed due to damages suffered in the wreck.
You can just see the cars are still coming in. It was awesome. It really, they hit hard.
Don't let the slow motion fool you. All of this took place at about 185 miles an hour, and it became a very different race. Another interesting thing about it were the guys who slipped through. You saw Ernie Irvin get through, and he later contended in this event. You saw Dale Jarrett was in early on. You saw the car of Greg Sachs in there. Waltrip missed him before making contact with Ken Schrader. All of those cars were contenders late in the race. Speaking of Greg Sachs, he's standing by now with Steve Burns.
Greg Sachs is down here, and it's a family affair. His wife and a couple of his sons. Greg, you had a good run today.
Yeah, we sure did. Dale and Harry, they're great guys to run against. I thought we had something for them. With 2 to go, I tried to get Dale loose down in 1 and 2, but when he turned loose, I turned sideways. Harry reeled us in. It was just a great run to the finish. Congratulations to those 2 guys.
Greg, you obviously would like to be in a full-time Winston Cup ride, but these days your time has been taking up helping out Tom Cruise in the Days of Thunder movie. What's that experience been like?
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and right now my commitment is to finish that production of Days of Thunder through the middle of April sometime, and it looks like our next Winston Cup effort will be with Rick Hendrick's R&D car at Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Winston.
Tell us a little bit more about the R&D situation, Greg. Is that going to be a sponsored effort?
Well, it's not right now, but I believe you'll see it sponsored in days to come.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Yeah. That movie is quite the subject of speculation here at Daytona. I think the only 2 people who aren't in it thus far are me and Johnny Hayes. Dale Earnhardt, your winner over Harry Gant, Greg Sachs, Jimmy Hensley, and Elton Sawyer. Hensley holds the distinction of being the first Grand National regular to finish, and that's worth a lot of points. We'll be back.